Welcome back to Inside the Mind, the official podcast of Missouri S&T Athletics. Patrick Murphy here with you again, as always. Want to take a moment to let you know this episode presented by Minor Corporate Club member Price Chopper. We'd like to thank them for their membership in the S&T Corporate Club and their support of minor athletics. Before we get into today's show, if you could please be a friend, tell a friend about it as we continue to tell the stories and talk with Missouri S&T student athletes, staff, administrators, and alumni. If you missed any of Season 1, no worries. All previous episodes are archived online. Head to the Fan Zone tab of minorathletics.com. Look for the Inside the Mind podcast. All 24 episodes from Season 1 are archived there, along with links to platforms where this show is available, including YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcasts, TuneIn, and Deezer. So be sure to subscribe to this show wherever you may watch or listen. That way you don't miss any episodes. Joining us first on today's show, she's entering her first season as the head coach of the Missouri S&T women's soccer team following a 4-year stint as the associate head coach at her alma mater, Goldie Beacom, a period during which the Lightning went 48-24-4 overall and 34-11-2 in the Central Atlantic Collegiate Conference. She's still endeavoring to find a pizza place to her liking since moving to the Midwest. Please welcome Jane Grimley-Gunn to the program. Jane, thanks for stopping back by. I know it's been a busy first week getting your student athletes back, first week of training. How's things going so far?
It has been busy, for sure. We've had 6 a.m., so we're getting up, setting my alarm every morning at 4:55 a.m. to get here in time. Double sessions, so yeah, we've truly been nonstop. Even today, we're still doing a double session, and we haven't really scaled back yet, so it's been intense.
That first week back is always the, kind of not necessarily, a wake-up call, but kind of a, cold water to the face. It's like, hey, all right, yes. we're back. We're jumping into it.
Right away.
Season starts in a couple weeks. We got to get back after it. How's first week overall gone so far?
Good. The energy's great. The new players have really settled in well, and I think that is because we have a lot of experienced older players who have done a great job through the years building a culture, being very welcoming to those who come in. So from that perspective, it's been pretty seamless, but we still have a lot of work to do approaching our first couple of games.
Right. We'll talk about the makeup of your team here as we get going. We'll start with all that group of returners you just mentioned. You got the vast majority of last year's GLVC semifinal team back this year, not short on experience. Plenty of starters coming back, along with some pretty polished reserves who have all seen time to some extent throughout the course of either last season or over the course of their career if they've been here for a season or two. What's the feeling around the program heading into this 2022 season?
Yeah, I think the expectations are to do as well, if not better, than the previous season. Why wouldn't they? They do have the majority of the players back who have a hunger for it, who have learned a lot of lessons, who have gained experience, and now have the opportunity to maybe avenge what they've lost and potentially get farther than before. So I think there's a level of determination, excitement, understanding of how good they could be if they really apply themselves. So there has been a good level of focus and intensity, I would say, carried throughout this week at least.
Mention the newcomers as well. You've got a quintet of those this year. Hope everybody liked that word, mixing that in there. Briefly tell us about that group. Got a pair of new goalkeepers, couple of middies, and a forward. What stood out to you about them, and just kind of tell us a little bit about them.
Yeah, absolutely. So the two goalkeepers we've got, one was gaining some experience with the team last year, just not in a full capacity, and then we brought in a new freshman. And both, I think, will be potential challengers for playing time at least. There is a real minimal gap between them, which is great looking forward, at least from a goalkeeper perspective. As for the other players, we have two center mids, both with great experience, played at a really high club level, and a forward who I personally didn't recruit, but we're really excited about her as well. So it's been really interesting and nice to see how they're kind of jumping in right away. They still are a little bit of a step behind as expected, but I think as we get into it, they're going to help us make an impact.
Yeah, and that's to be expected with incoming freshmen and everything else. Just getting used to the speed of the college game in any sport. There's a little bit of a learning curve there, but
for sure.
The quicker you can make that adjustment and jump on that, the better the outcome will be in the long term. GLVC preseason poll not quite out yet. I think we actually all just got the email saying that it was available for voting the time we're recording this, so it might be out sometime after this episode gets released. But it's still a very tough league. 7 of the 8 postseason teams from last year back, with the exception of Southern Indiana, who is going Division I this year and competing in the Ohio Valley Conference, along with Lindenwood, who finished near the bottom of the league last year. What do you think conference play is going to look like once we get to that starting in September?
It's going to be very, very tough. I think the difference from the top to the bottom is pretty minimal. I would say both of the bottom 2 teams last year have brought in really strong recruiting classes. So there is not an easy game, I don't think. I think we're going to have to bring 150% every day if we want to get the same results, and the team have set very aggressive goals of what they want to achieve this year. They predict that they'll only lose 1 game. That was their initial prediction.
That's a bold prediction.
Yes,
we'll see if it pays off.
They're very optimistic, and in order to achieve that, I think they're really going to have to be checked in and focused. But I think overall, I don't know if I'm as optimistic quite as that, but I think that they're going to have a very good season as long as we check the boxes, do what we have to.
Right. That's, aim high. There's
right.
absolutely nothing wrong with setting high expectations. Speaking of the schedule, though, obviously before we get to conference, got a couple non-conference matches lined up. Tough one coming out of the gate. Preseason number 1, Grand Valley State, along with couple new opponents that I haven't necessarily seen in a while in Missouri Southern, trip to Washburn, exhibition against the aforementioned Lindenwood. How important are those non-conference matches and also that exhibition thrown in there to prepare for that conference opener September 11th?
Absolutely. I don't think you can prepare any better than playing Grand Valley for your first game, right? If you want to be the best, you have to beat the best. You have to play the best. I think that will be a great initial test that if we have success, we are on a great track. And if we don't, a lot of things will be exposed that will allow us to make improvements for the future. We played Missouri Southern in the spring. Very close game. That should be a really interesting one. Never played Washburn, traveling a good distance, so that's a good experience to go through. And then obviously Lindenwood to hopefully get some additional playing time, players involved, given it that it is an exhibition. So all of those things I think have really big takeaways, and none of them will be easy. They're all good from a regional ranking perspective and all of those details. So yeah, I think after those 3 games, we'll have a good idea of where we're at and what we need to improve on to be able to be prepared for the GLVC season.
Almost forgot about that double dip with McKendree again.
Yeah.
Have the final non-conference game of the season against the Bearcats here at home. That was a non-conference matchup at their place last year, and then the conference game was in Rolla, a game which S&T ended up victorious over the Bearcats late in the season, helped push their GLVC run. Being able to see a conference opponent but not have it count towards the conference standings, what allows what's the importance or the significance of being able to just kind of get basically 2 looks at somebody during the season?
Sure. Yeah, and especially with McKendree being one of the best teams probably in the conference.
Right.
I think that will give me insight as a first-time coach in this conference of what that bar is to be set. I think the only challenge is I find it very difficult to beat a team twice. Yeah. But we'll see how the first game goes, and then we can take it from there. But I think, they're a great side, so that'll give us a lot of information to get prepared.
Difficult to beat anybody multiple times in a season, no matter what the sport is. One thing I do want to ask you real quick, going into your first season as a head coach, what is the one thing that you're looking forward to the most, you're most excited about, maybe even the most nervous about?
Sure. So I think excited-wise, we've done a lot of preparation. I'm a big planner, and the girls know that. So we have done a ton in regards to really making sure we're covering all of our bases, that we have a defined playing style, that the terminology we use, everything that we're doing has a purpose. And I think they've taken well to that. It's very process-driven. I find that's how kids are wired here as well. So that part I think has been exciting and good to see. Can this team maybe transform and take the next step, given some new information and something different maybe than they would have had previously? What am I most nervous about? The unknown, right? Just not having experience in this conference. I don't doubt the team or my coaching staff. I just do wonder what it's going to be like, and I think those first couple of games will give us a quick taste that we'll have to really begin to think, okay, how do we take this information and make sure we're consistent and we're getting a good record out of it?
For sure. Pivot away from soccer here for a bit. How's the adjustment been for you? I know coming from the East Coast to the Midwest, a little bit of a difference. Been here for what, 7 months
Yeah, it's kind of
now?
crazy.
I feel it's probably. I'm sure it's flown by, and I know
It
this.
really
I know
has.
the summer was busy for you too. But just how's that transition been for you?
Yeah, it's actually been really different. It's much more different than I would have expected. I think both from a lifestyle perspective, but also even a soccer perspective. Just the structure, the level of competition, the people, like all of those things have just been a transition for me. It's not good or bad. I always say that. It's just different. It's just getting used to what's around here. Rolla itself is very different from where I'm from. Yeah, it's all just been a learning experience, I would say, for me.
And still can't find a decent slice of pizza to
Cannot.
save your life, unfortunately.
Cannot.
I know. How was your summer? I know that you had a ton going on. I feel like every time I looked up, either you or George was walking around with a recruiter doing something.
Yes.
So definitely hit the recruiting trail hard. But I know there's plenty of traveling and several other things all mixed in between.
Yeah, so we started out early in the summer going to the Girls Academy Showcase. That was in I guess Southern California to recruit and also just to enjoy the experience there, right? Because it's just so different. That was a positive takeaway. We had kids visit from California, from local states. It was a pretty large tournament, so I think that was a good experience. We went to England for a trip for fun, so that was nice. And we also did some other smaller trips for recruiting and mixing in visits and everything else. I mean, as you said, this class graduating out is a big, strong class. So that is, I wouldn't say a concern, but something that we're very aware of. So we need to get
Really,
in.
working overtime when it
Yes,
comes to try and find those that next group to replace them.
It's tough. I mean, you're looking at like our leading goal scorer, pretty much the backbone of the team, leaving. So we need players who can jump in right away, and that's a really tricky thing to find. So we're still on the search, but that was a good first step.
For sure, for sure. We'll go ahead and start getting this wrapped up. The one thing that you're looking forward to the most about this upcoming 22 season?
I think I don't want to say it, but I think like revenge. I think the girls are really hungry for revenge. Like I love the goals that they've set, even though I think some of them might be a little bit ambitious. They are for it. They're driven. They have a plan. They don't seem like they're letting up at all. I've given them a really tough week, and they've hung for it. So I'm excited to see how far that they can push themselves and how far that they can go if they continue on the track that they're going.
GLVC better watch out. The Missouri S&T Women's Soccer Revenge Tour kicking off August
I love it.
25th against Grand Valley State.
I don't know about that one.
All right, we'll call it September 11th against
Yeah,
Illinois
love it.
Springfield. We'll do that. The official tour kickoff date.
Great.
Well, Jane, thanks for taking time out of your day to stop by and chat with us again. I know this week has been busy, not necessarily quite as busy as once classes start, but I'm sure it's nice to just be able to focus exclusively on soccer for the first 2 weeks, getting ready for, again, that season opener against Grand Valley, that August 25th. For those listening and watching, that game will be played in St. Louis at Maryville University at 3:30. So if anybody wants to go out and watch some soccer in St. Louis on a Thursday, come on out to the home of the Big Red M in St. Louis. But appreciate the time as always. Good luck this season, and here's to win number one.
Thank you.
Head coach Jane Grimley-Gunn of Missouri S&T Women's Soccer. We'll step aside, take a short break, be back on the other side of this episode of Inside the Mind, again presented by Minor Corporate Club member Price Chopper. Welcome back to this episode of Inside the Mind, presented by Minor Corporate Club sponsor Price Chopper. We thank them for their membership in the S&T Corporate Club and support of minor athletics. Joining us next on today's program, she's entering her 5th season with the S&T Women's Soccer program in 2022. She's appeared in 12 career matches, including 5 last season, during which she recorded 7 saves and a 1.07 goals against average. In the 2020-2021 season, she appeared in 7 matches and led S&T with 34 saves. Wearing a new number this year, please welcome number 1, Viktoria Johnson, to the show. Viktoria, thanks for stopping by. I know it's a busy week. We're not quite back in school yet, but first week of training and everything, getting ready for the season. But how are you doing?
Pretty sore right now, but other than that, glad to be back and happy to start back.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that first week back is always tough with conditioning tests and getting back into it. Doing stuff on your own during the summers is one thing, but getting back into it and like basically organized team activities definitely a different feel.
Yeah.
We'll go ahead and jump right into the conversation. Heading into your fifth season with the program, one of four fifth-year players on the team this year. Um, just getting ready to wrap up this first week. How's it been so far? His we got Coach sitting right here. Everything been going good. Yeah, you can't say anything bad in front of Coach, right?
Yeah.
But everything been good so far this first week. Good vibes, everything.
Yeah. It's good to be back with everybody and just be around. New coach and everything, but everything's good. Everyone's really excited to start this new season, and it's a lot of positivity and just great all around work ethic. And this week has been pretty brutal on everyone, but with support from everyone, it's been a little better. So.
For sure. You're the only returning keeper on the team this season that has game experience. Obviously, playing alongside KK Steins the last couple seasons, had a good relationship and pushing each other, splitting time and goal. But how does that experience that you have allow you to work with a relatively young goalie room and help the newcomers adjust to what the speed and the pace of the college game, and that way you guys are all working to help push each other and develop each other as we head into the season.
Coming in, KK actually helped me pave the way, I guess you can say, as like an older mentor of mine. So I actually took away some tips. And just with the younger keepers, just got to keep it lively and just have a fun relationship with them. They are pretty goofy and fun. So you just got to keep it playing, but also whenever it's down to like the wire, we have to become serious and make sure that they understand that it's not a slow pace as what they were used to in clubs. So now in college, it's a lot faster and quicker, and teams are gonna get harder and faster, and just got to realize the, I guess, pace is just gonna just continue, and I just have to help them realize that. I guess. Wow, brain fart. I'm so sorry.
You're good.
I guess just realize that they also just, I guess I have me to look up to, and I have to realize to take my role in that and just take responsibility and help with them. Just relax and just be okay, because honestly, I was scared when I was a freshman because the pace was really fast. But as I said earlier, Keke helped me out, and the other goalkeepers along beside her. Whenever I was a freshman here, they helped me out a lot, and honestly, that just having older mentors helped out a lot because they helped me calm down and just get all the jitters away, because I didn't want to make a mistake, but then I realized long down the road that mistakes happen and you just got to move past it.
Absolutely. Now we saw the fun in keeping it light the other day during media day.
Yeah.
Some of the group photos we were able to take. Um, we'll go ahead and talk kind of briefly about last year's results on the field. Obviously, a really special season. Went undefeated at home.
Yeah.
Didn't lose a match on home turf or grass for the few times we actually played on the grass field last year.
Yeah.
And that last season's postseason run, very special. What did it mean to you to be a part of that? And having seen where this program was when you came in as a freshman, to where it was last fall.
Oh, it was so exciting, just because my freshman year, we weren't the best, but I mean, we weren't the absolute worst. But it was awesome to see how much we've built over the years and just how much we can succeed if we all just work together and we just came together as one team. The chemistry between us my freshman year wasn't there, but also it was there, just not as closely as we would like it to have been. But as my years went on, it gotten closer and a lot more connected. So my last year was just very special to us because we actually got to go into the semifinals and get past the actual like regular season game. So it was actually awesome just to realize like we can actually do it and we have so much potential on this team.
Follow up to that question, given how last season ended on a PK, maybe a little suspect depending on your perspective. If you're in an S&T uniform, definitely wasn't a fan of that call, but if you were in a Drury uniform, you were all for it.
Yeah.
But just how does having the last season end like that motivate the club and yourself heading into this year?
Last year that PK, it was heartbreaking. A lot of tears shed because we really felt like that was not deserved. It was tied 0-0 the whole game, and then just ended on that. It was just really,
That's a really tough way,
yeah,
especially after the year that you guys
yeah,
had.
it was so heartbreaking. Like it was just shattering because that was just something you just don't want to go out on. And I just feel like after that moment, we really realized that like we really want to win the whole league now and just really go to the NCAA championships this year. And I think it motivated us because Jury is just that team that we just really good competition. We consider them one of our biggest villains, but I mean we really want to beat them this year and make sure that like we actually hold our composure and make sure we do all the things right this time instead of losing on a sus PK.
For sure. No, I think a big thing is having that taste of success and being able to, know that you guys can go out and compete at that level. That's such a really, really big part of, you know, again, being able to, rebound from how last year ended and come back, and, repeat, try to repeat that effort again this season. We'll go ahead and pivot a little bit here. Tell us about your time here at Missouri S&T as a student athlete and what that has meant to you.
It's been really fun. Probably more stressful than fun. It's been really hard to actually have to balance everything, but my freshman year is probably my hardest because I was still getting used to balancing soccer and
Right,
doing schoolwork.
you're having to make that transition
Yeah.
from high school to having to learn how to study and
Yeah.
everything else, right?
Yeah, because in high school I was pretty lazy and just really did everything at the last minute. So I actually had to learn how to do time management and actually learn to actually do my work faster because I honestly didn't go to bed till like maybe 2 or 3 in the morning every night because
It's exactly what you want.
just lazy. So, but yeah, it's been fun. I've learned that you can make a lot of friends within being a sport like an athlete and also being a student. I learned that the teachers can also be a helpful guide because that since we do miss some school, they can actually be somewhat of help because they can help us get our work that we miss or notes or just anything that we need help with the day we missed. But overall, I 100% love it. Kind of sad it's my last year, but also kind of ready to leave too. So.
Right. No, I get that. Haven't gone to school here myself too. No, I get it. It's tough here. It takes obviously it's a challenge to be a student athlete anywhere, but especially more so at a school here like Missouri S&T. Chemical engineering major, right?
Yeah.
It was just kind of helps pivot into the in this next question. What was it about S&T that stood out to you when you were going through the recruiting process that ultimately led to your decision to come here? Was it that field of study that really stood out, or just kind of walk us through what was like for you?
Well, mainly because they had my major, and that's kind of hard to find within the United States. So, I mean, that actually drew me to it, and then also just everything from resources. And my father, he works at Ameren, Missouri.
Okay.
So his colleagues actually love this school so much, and he kept trying to push me to go.
Definitely one of the big recruiters at the career fair every year.
Yeah. So he was trying to push me, and I was like, okay, fine, I'll go look at it. And so I came here, and I absolutely loved it, and I'm actually glad I made this choice because it feels like home, and I really do. And I'm only like 2 hours away from home, so I mean, kind of far, but also not really.
You're far enough away that you've got some space, but you're not close enough that your folks can't just drop in.
Yeah, yeah, it's true.
I get that. I kind of had the same feelings and stuff when I came to school here, and made that decision as well. In your opinion, what makes Missouri S&T such a special place to be a student athlete at?
Probably all the resources and that's all the contacts they have. Basically, mainly the career fair because they have so many opportunities for you to like get research jobs or just jobs in general, or internships or even co-ops. So I mean, it's just the resources and opportunities that are given here that just really stand out between all the other schools, in my opinion.
Just real quick follow up to that one. What are some opportunities that you've been able to take advantage of? Like I said, as a result of the career fair, any internships you've been able to do that kind of stand out from your time?
I actually had an internship over the summer. It was with Afton Chemical. It was in Sauget, Illinois.
Okay.
They saw that I went to Missouri S&T. They really thought that really stood out to them. so that they felt like they actually encouraged them to pick me for their internship
Right.
this summer.
What they have you doing?
Mainly looking at the different equipment within the plant, or just looking at all the safety aspects of the plant was going on this summer.
Definitely sounds like an interesting kind of time.
Yeah.
Again, the career fair is such a great resource here. Obviously, the fall one's a big one, but having two of those a year is plenty of opportunities for not just student athletes, but other traditional students here to be able to take that next step in their careers. We'll go ahead and wrap up conversation with something fun. Favorite soccer memory from your career? Could be at Missouri S&T, from high school, club level, and if you're having a hard time picking one, you can give us a couple.
Okay. Probably the spring of the COVID year, which was that 2021? I think spring. First game back, it was against Strumming. Came out for a breakaway. The girl actually sliced open my lip, and I had to get stitches after that game. Yeah.
Did you make the save though?
Yeah, I made the save. Yeah, and it was very fun. It's a lot of blood, but I mean, it wasn't fun at the time. But I mean, I had to get stitches after the game, and yeah, kind of got a scar from my lip. But yeah.
Did that happen in the first half or second half?
It was the second half.
So what wasn't beat up for too long. Hopefully it was later in the half too.
It was kind of a little early, yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Right. Well, you gutted it out,
Yeah.
Tell the trainer, hey, just tape me up. I'm good.
Yeah.
We'll finish it.
Yeah,
So
pretty much.
that's awesome. Well, Victoria, thank you for taking time out of your day to stop by and chat with us. I said I know this first week is busy for y'all getting back into it. Had headshots, media day, obviously all the training sessions, film, and everything. A little bit nice to get going back with just soccer before school starts. But thanks so much for your time, and good luck for this upcoming season.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I had fun.
Awesome. That is fifth-year goalkeeper Viktoria Johnson joining us here on this episode of Inside the Mind, again presented by Price Chopper. That'll help wrap us up for this episode. If you could, please be a friend, tell a friend about this show. Be sure to subscribe to this show wherever you may follow along, be that YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcasts, TuneIn, or Deezer. Thank you all for taking a little bit of time out of your day to spend a little bit of it with us. We appreciate your support as always. Be sure to keep an eye on the upcoming Missouri S&T athletic event schedule. Preseason is progressing at a rather rapid rate. Regular season will be here before you know it, so be sure to come out. Note those dates, come out to support the Miners as best you can. But again, thank you all for taking time out of your day to spend a little bit with us. We appreciate your support, and without you, we wouldn't be able to keep doing this show and telling the amazing stories of our student athletes, coaches, alumni, and more. And until next time, cheers and go Miners.